So what, how do you like the picture? And much yes. Yes, I have read that. That was really interesting, wasn't it? Zone A, refugee settlement. What? The broadcast. And the refugees here. Neither is making us feel very welcome. The refugees are openly hostile to well-dressed people who obviously don't belong here. Ever since RPK and AK-15 have entered the residential area, the people here have been giving them dirty looks. Some even spat at them belligerently. They are not armed. Simple acts of provocation driven by extreme animosity are no threat to us. Humans have a tendency of dividing themselves into different classes, and they love finding ways to feel superior. From a doll's point of view, this kind of self-deception is quite amusing. I wonder how they would react if we demonstrate the fact that they are actually inferior. That is not part of the mission. RPK snatches up a few items of clothing that some refugees have left out to dry as she walks down the street. She hands AK-15 a coat. We can add it to an itinerary, like right now. I believe at least 2 wannabe hunters want to experience what it feels to be hunted. Are we being followed already? Yes, but they're not particularly skilled. Just like the ones that latched onto Angie when we first arrived. Okay. Well. I was hoping someone would show up a bit more finesse, but so far I've only been disappointed. Isn't that kind of demotivating? You're right, I see them. I've tapped into the comms link, sharing audio with you. Looks like there's more than 2 of them. Well, it's only polite to back them all. Angie told us to avoid firing our weapons. My dear, firing our weapons isn't the only way to eliminate our enemies. Elimination is just the result. What matters is how we define the process. What are you planning to do? RPK reveals a few black cubes. Camouflage yourself, and then let's have some fun fishing. Target spotted again. They're exiting house. Squad A is tailing them. Copy that. Squad B is right behind you, ready to outflank the 2 dolls. Note that these are not your run-of-the-mill tactical dolls. They have already taken out 2 of our teams. Exercise extreme caution. They have disguised themselves with clothing of local refugees. Observe their physique and don't lose them. Understood. Squad A has stun guns at the ready. We can attack as soon as we come into contact with the targets. Are you sure about using non-lethal weapons? They are a lot more dangerous than we first expected. Whoever gets tased by a stun gun is knocked right out, be them human or doll. Besides, these dolls participated in the operation at that submarine base. The intel in the Neuroclouds is worth much more than your hits. Don't worry. We've pinpointed the signals. We have the initiative. Alright. We'll pick up the pace and get to the next junction. Then we can launch a pincer attack with Squad A. Still pursuing Powell doggedly. They have no idea who that guy's just bait. The targets are moving steadily towards the objective. They haven't caught sight of us. We are now hidden in this crowd. Squad A is 15 meters away from the dolls. It's only 2 dolls. Maintaining current speeds. We can proceed once everyone is in position. Attention Squad A, the target is split off. They are now moving in opposite directions. Using the same trick again. We're not falling for this time. Something's wrong. One of them is heading towards you. That's perfect. We can do them in ahead of schedule. Disguised as a refugee, the plainclothes agent hides his stun gun in his coat and watches as a figure wearing a hat saunters towards them, completely oblivious to the hidden threat. He confirms the signal. It's his target. The armed agent jabs the stun gun at the person with a hat, who collapses after giving a spasm. The other 2 plainclothes agents drag the unconscious victim into the space between 2 buildings. It's not them. They faked the signals. Alright then. That was easy. Get the hat off. Even with all those layers on, the stun gun still... Now it's taken off. Only to reveal a middle-aged man who is foaming at the mouth. What? Bullying innocent civilians isn't a good habit, Mr. Cop. The Plinkless tries to attack RPK with a stun gun, but she grabs him by the wrist and twists his arm around, causing him to stun himself instead. He convulses and hits the ground. His colleagues pause for a moment, trying to comprehend what just happened, then they all charge at RPK. A few plainclothes officers are flung out into the streets. RPK pokes a head out, and peers left and right before dragging them back into the narrow alley. Squad A! Squad A, respond! This is Squad B. Something is not right. Our target has just multiplied. There are now 4 of them. No, 8. Scheiße, they've deployed signal decoys. They must have slipped the signal emitters into the refugees' pockets to throw us off. Ignore the signals. You can spot the dolls by sight? Yes, sir. Hold on. They're coming from behind. Draw weapons. Squad B. Squad B. We've lost contact with 2 squads in a matter of seconds. Are we actually the ones being hunted? If that's the case, then they must be monitoring our comms. The plainclothes commander wipes away his sweat on his forehead. He throws his radio onto the ground and crushes it with a foot. He's just about to turn and run when someone seizes him by the collar from behind. As the commander, you're just going to turn tail and leave your subordinates for dead? Isn't that a bit dishonorable? Beads of sweat start dripping down the man's forehead again. He suddenly draws his pistol and turns around, trying to shoot RPK. Unsurprisingly, RPK grabs his arm and with a nimble twist, the man finds himself flung across the air before crashing heavily onto the ground. I'm done over here. Have you captured the commander? Snatch them just as we're about to leg it. Blast it all, do you know who I am? You mechanical lowlives, what gives you the right to do this? Oh dear, quite the bigot, aren't you? Thankfully, unlike humans, we dolls are quite very open-minded and tolerant. If you tell me who's pulling the strings and what they're planning, I'm happy to pretend I didn't hear what you just said. You've got to be joking. We're the police. If you dare raise a hand against law enforcers, you won't be leaving Bremen at all. It seems a conscientious public servant doesn't quite understand the situation. Evan, I'll leave it to you to persuade Fritz over here. This way, please. AK-15 drags the man by the collar into an abandoned house. The sound of punches landing on flesh can soon be heard. The man howls in pain and struggles to break free. He tries to scramble outside, but AK-15 simply seizes him again and hauls him back to the house. Why do people only want to talk after being subjected to unnecessary pain? Why can't we just come to an understanding with words alone? Don't you agree, Fritz? RPK expresses her dismay theatrically as he strolls through the door. Blood is flowing from the man's nose, smearing half of his face. He can barely open his eyes. My main name isn't Fritz. Doesn't matter. I don't really care what you're called. So, can you finally tell us what we want to know? Still not talking. Your willpower is truly commendable. Evan, give him another round. Alright, I'll tell you everything. Don't beat me anymore. A few minutes later. Fascinating. I didn't expect humans to come up with such an interesting plan. Should we inform Angie? Of course. I also want to tell her about my new idea. Are you sure about that? We'll be walking right into the trap. Imagine if someone thinks they're about to go to heaven, but they suddenly find themselves in hell. It's going to be so much fun. As long as we capture the HVT in the end, Angie won't have a problem no matter what we do, right? In that case, you can't blame me for having some harmless fun while doing a boring task. Fine. Do whatever you want. Zone A, Refugee Settlement. In a certain control room, a group of people are working in front of multiple surveillance workstations. There's a steady stream of electronic pings and keyboard clicks. New documents are constantly being printed, held up against the monitors for comparison and calculations. With a fresh cup of coffee in hand, the chief inquires about the latest status of the mission. What happens? They obscured the signals after attacking our agents. We're just trying to locate them. Can't believe those Soviet scrap metal robots are capable of that. Anything on the surveillance system? We're looking, but the CCTV cameras around the residential area are experiencing signal failures. Get them back online as fast as you can. They're going to make use of this opportunity to act, and we can't afford to be blind. If we still don't have the Soviet bitch and her toys before Powell gets taken away, it'll all be on our heads. Yes, sir. Wait, I think we have them over here. The triumphant shout has attracted everyone's attention. The monitor shows 2 female dolls on the move, one with short hair and the other with imposing stature. The smart suits they are wearing make them extremely out of place in the derelict streets and regularly draw the eyes of the passing refugees. Powell went inside this building just minutes ago. The dolls in pursuit arrive at the outside the office of the Refugee Aid Association and look around briefly before also slipping into the building. Their appearances match the description. These are the dolls sent by our target from Zone A. Ha! And they think nobody knows what they're up to. We've already notified our people to stand by for orders. Good. Give them the green light. On the monitor, the armed agents are all in position around the building. At the chief's command, they storm into the office. Meanwhile, in the control room, everyone's observing the situation through the armed agent's camera feeds. First floor clear. No sign of animate objects. We're outside the last room, preparing to break in. Clear. Clear. Sir, we haven't found any doors or detected any threats. Awaiting further darkness. Over. What? Check again. Did they escape through a different exit? I'm not seeing them on any of the security feed around the building. This makes no sense at all. This may be a trap. Right now should... The comms link is breaking up. Repeat. Hey! Verdammt. What the hell is going on? Our comms are being jammed. No, someone else is forcing their way into our channel. Someone else. That's right. Sorry to intrude. Upon hearing the slightly sarcastic female voice, the chief gestures for everyone to keep quiet and puts the call on speaker. Then he bids their subordinates to start tracing the signal origin. This is our first time touring the refugee settlement, so we don't really know our way around. You guys have been such a great help. You've made things so much easier for us. I don't know what you're talking about. Huh? I thought you knew about our objective here. How about this? Why don't we swap some information? Swap information. Tell me whose side you're on and who leaked their plans to you. In return, I'll tell you our next objective. Do you think I'm stupid? No deal. Such a pity. How much longer do you need? Another 20 seconds. Alright, I'll think about it, but I expect some gesture of goodwill. Goodwill? Sure. How about we have this conversation face-to-face in an open and friendly manner? What? Before he can respond, the closed window is suddenly shattered and the statuesque doll that was on the CCTV footage comes flying into the control room. The operators, who are quick to react, immediately draw their weapons and fire at her. But the attacks seem to have no effect on the target whatsoever, and the operators are soon knocked out cleanly, one after another. The chief, who is several paces away from the intruder, raises his own weapon to shoot the doll, but a slender hand suddenly grips his wrist and dislodges the gun with ease. Ow! How's this possible? Nothing is impossible. It's just a simple manner of planting some fake CCTV footage and working our way to this place. It's all because you have too much faith in your machines, don't you think? The chief tries to break free, but a heavy blow to the back of his skull puts him out like a light, and he slumps onto the floor. Oh dear, I bet he used any force, but he passed out just like that. Aren't we supposed to interrogate him? We're in a hurry. Their equipment will tell us what we need to know. Right, since I've decided to take a pity on these bastards, get them all out of here. AK-15 gets to work right away. RPK sits down at one of the stations, plugs herself into the server and starts scanning. A few minutes later. I see. What did you find? All the communications logs and records are on level 2. The firewall might as well be non-existent. These filters have grown complacent in peacetime and gotten out of practice when it comes to being terrorists. If they are willing to pay, I'd gladly teach them how to do this properly. Any important intelligence? It's all really boring stuff. We'll let Angie sort through this herself. I've downloaded the entire database. That's it. Time to go. They're quite slow to react. They're a bunch of amateurs. Like I said, if they have the cash, I don't mind making entire calls out of this. A massive explosion echoes through the settlement. The building where RPK and AK-15 are in is instantly engulfed in flames. A figure observes the burning rubble with binoculars from a distance. You know what? I think I'm going to call it early today. I know that this stream was very short in comparison to usual, but I just don't feel it today. I was really looking forward to a major event, and then admittedly, it's my own mistake. I fucked up. But I just don't feel it right now. So I'm just going to call it here. So, you know what? Fuck it. Have a good night. Thank you very much for being here. I'll be back tomorrow with either Jagged Alliance 3 or Frostpunk, depending on some circumstances. We'll see.